United States take the first step to ensure that Iran is kept in check? And if so, what should that step be?
Well, there's no doubt we got to make sure that Iran doesn't get nuclear capabilities. And we need to work with our allies. Unfortunately, right now, we're sending the wrong signals to our good ally of Israel. The President's raising some tensions with Israel and their leadership, which I think is the wrong way to go. But we need to first get all our allies together, the free world, and make sure that we have sanctions on Iran and make it clear to them that we're not going to tolerate them to get nuclear capability. And if they want to have nuclear power plants, that's fine. How we do that, we ship them the low-grade uranium. Yeah, I guess there's a system that you can actually rent it to them, and when it's time to go back, they replace it so they never have the high plutonium grade to build the nuclear weapons. So I think we don't take anything off the table. If we have to do military action to keep them from getting that capability, we should let them know that that's on the table. We don't take anything off the table. And unfortunately, right now, our current administration is taking a lot of things off the table. It's weakening our defense, and I've got a lot of concerns about that. Obviously, military action should be a last resort, but it should always be on the table as a threat. For us that grew up during the Cold War, the reason we stayed safe during the Cold War is because we kept our defenses strong and we didn't take anything off the table. And we beat the Soviet Union in the Cold War because we bankrupted them. But we did it because they couldn't compete with us and build the military. So we need to keep our defenses strong and make sure that they realize that and not bow down to them, as our president seems to do a lot.
Andre, your final question. It appears that many people in America feel that the methods used by our military to interrogate captured enemies of war and terrorists against the United States are outright torture. Do you agree?
If we're talking about the methods that have become public over this war on terror, then no, I do not agree. I think that, first of all, these are people that do not want to associate themselves with any specific nation. I don't think that the rules of engagement directly apply to them. They should be treated like citizens. Now, I'll say this. I do not believe that means we should just, everything's off the books. We can do whatever we want to people. Of course not. We're Americans. And we still stand on life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. We still stand on a conscience to treat people fairly. But I think that if it comes down to a nuclear bomb or some type of terrorist act being enacted in this nation, where thousands or maybe even millions of people their lives could be taken, then I think that it's in the best interest of the national security of this country to do whatever it needs to do within reason. And I think that things like waterboarding that was talked about, I've never been waterboarded. Fred probably has. He probably did it for kicks. But, what I understand of some of these tactics that they've made such an issue of, that really there's no physical harm that comes to anybody, but it causes a lot of terror and intense situation for you to get to talk. No, I don't believe that that's the case, and I think that when our country's at stake, that we need to stop and say, if it's millions of us or making somebody uncomfortable, I think that somebody needs to be made uncomfortable. Jack Bauer for president.
Jeanette, your final question. What is your position on the proposed cap and trade legislation and its potential impact on the 18th congressional district?
Obviously, I pretty much covered this on the energy question, although it does give me an opportunity to add on the energy question that we do need an energy policy. This nation has been sorely lacking in energy policy, but you need to understand that cap and trade is not an energy policy. Cap and trade is strictly a tax. What it's going to do is cost shift. We pay about 5 cents per unit for our electricity, and on the East and West Coast, they pay about 13 cents. So all they're really asking is those of us in the Midwest where we've got coal reserves and we have the ability to produce our electricity at cheaper costs, they want us to subsidize their electricity. You know, in this district, as I mentioned, you know, some of our best jobs here are related to the ability to produce our energy cheaply. You know, whether those are coal mining jobs, transportation, manufacturing, farming jobs. I was on the phone with an owner of a mining company today talking about the 600 employees that he employs right here in our district. Those are jobs that we need to keep here. We need to have representation that first and foremost understands that the #1 issue at all of our kitchen tables is jobs and the economy, and keeping the best jobs that we have here and taking advantage of all the resources that we have in this district. We have the intersection of 70 and 77 in this district. Half the nation passes through our district every year. We need leadership that understands that we can have economic prosperity by using the resources we have here, because no other district in the nation has those abilities that we have here because of that intersection. So we need to have leadership that's going to be able to move forward and take advantage of our economic resources, whether they're coal or transportation and distribution, and move us forward economically.